All right, couple more things to learn in this chapter. The pencil tool, which sounds awesome, but I find to be very frustrating, but let's take a look at it. Let's go to Artboard 3. And let's go to our layers panel. We need to turn on the plants template layer so we can see that. And then make sure that we're still working, actively selecting our artwork layer so that everything we draw goes there. And we're going to go find our pencil tool. And let's see where it's living on this computer. It's under paintbrush on yours. Huh. It was under the shaper tool on mine, and in the book they made it seem like we'd have to go get it. So, wherever your pencil tool is, the shortcut for it is letter N, which you see once you finally find it. So switch to the pencil tool and bring your cursor over into this artboard that we're working on. And I can tell you now that what this is going to do is going to be like you are holding a pencil and you are just dragging around and actually making the lines. It's going to put down anchor points as needed as you drag around. Sounds divine? It isn't. Especially when you're using a potato to be precise. Okay? So, let's have fun with this. Let's first edit how it's going to behave before we start. So, double click on the tool itself in the toolbar, and this is where you get your options for it. So, fidelity. Accurate would mean it's throwing down anchor points one after another, trying to be as precise as you are. Smooth would be, yeah, I get your general idea. Here's a couple anchor points. Smooth is probably better because you can go in and add some, whereas accurate puts in so many, it can really be tedious. So switch it to smooth. Keep selected is the option by default. That means that as we're going along with our pencil tool, it assumes that everything we're drawing should be selected and stay together as one unit, not just here's a line, here's a line, here's a line. And then close paths when ends are within 15 pixels, we're going to leave that. So you don't have to be exactly precise to get it to close down. You can tweak this to be more forgiving or less forgiving depending on what you need it to be. So say OK, that's how we're using the pencil. Go back to your properties panel, and before we use it, we want no fill, and we want a black stroke of 1 point. So no fill, 1 point black stroke. Whenever there's an asterisk next to the pencil, that means it's ready to start. And you are going to basically start here and just draw over this line as best you can. And when you let go, when you're all done, it'll smooth things out for you. So I did that all in one swoop. I'm going to try again over here.
Mine's not working. Like it has a not staying up by the cursor.
Are you in your layers panel? Make sure you're on your artwork layer.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you were probably in a locked layer or a layer that wasn't on. Yep. So, what do you think of the pencil tool?
Love it.
Love it.
It's
Wow.
great. I hate it.
I'm not a fan. All right, with that path still selected, when you get done with that first one, we're going to change it to have a fill of plant green and no stroke. All right, letter B, or shape B, is a little bit different in that we want to draw straight line segments, and probably you saw as you're moving this cursor around with your big fat potato mouse, it's hard to keep a straight line. It's jiggling all over, so we're going to have to, and that's kind of the thing of the pencil tool. It's meant to look more organic and hand-drawn. So it doesn't do those perfectly straight lines. If you want them, you have to do something special. So, all right, start at the red dot at the bottom here. Press and drag around when we get to the blue dot, and let go of the mouse when we get to the blue dot. There's our rounded corner. We're going to move our cursor back over the path that we drew, and when we get that the pencil with the backslash or the minus shape, that means that we can continue drawing from there. We're going to hold Option, and in this case, whoops, I didn't mean to zoom in. In this case, holding Option is going to give us a straight line. So we can go up to our next point, and then from there, we can continue drawing our curved line, and then hold Option again to get the straight line. A little bit different. We're used to like Shift being what keeps things straight, but it's Option when we're using this tool. Shift worked also? Okay. All right, once you get that shape done, we're going to fill this with the color called Cattail Orange, or Cattail, looks orange, and no stroke on that as well. We're going to switch to the Selection tool. We get our bounding box around it, and right now it's way too big. We're going to need to modify it now or later when we bring it into the other picture, but we're just going to make it smaller, about that big in comparison to what it was. Let's do the same for the green leaf shape, so we can shift drag that one down a little bit smaller too. All right, then we need to see all of our artboards, and we're going to drag those onto our Swan artboard. Basically, we're going to put cattails at the top. And remember, you hold down Option as you drag away to make a duplicate. And then you're going to need to transform it or rotate it to get it to behave as you want. And then these little green pieces just come down here at the bottom. And again, to make them not look so repetitive, you can twist them, turn them, shrink one down a little bit more than the other, make it look a little bit more natural, whatever. So do something like that to finish the bottom of the cattails. And then the last tool that we need to learn about is the Join tool. We've done that previously in one of our lessons where we had the things selected, and then we did Object Path Join, and whatever two ends were closest, Illustrator would join those. And then if you did that again, if you said Object Path Join, it would look for the next two paths that were closest and join them. This is similar to that, but it's actually a tool that's going to do the work for us instead of a command line. Up in your View menu, way down at the very bottom, you see some words, I and Leave. These are just zoomed in views. Go to the one called I. These are zoomed in views that the person who made this file saved as a selection that we could go and jump to and see quickly. So if there's an area on a bunch of artboards that you're always, jumping back to, you might want to do this and save it the same way. But at any rate, zoom in to these two weird shapes that are supposed to be an eye. take your selection tool, and we're going to take this shape on the left, we're going to select it, we're going to drag it over to the right, and we're going to hold down the shift key while we drag because that's just going to keep it on that exact same line. Notice it doesn't ever make a perfect circle, so we're going to have it kind of overlapping a little bit like this, and I'll click away so you can see what I mean. There's a bit of weird overlap as we drag one of those pieces over top the other. So the piece on the left, drag it over, hold shift key so that it stays on that same line, parallel line, and then you have them overlapped. So this is not a closed shape. This is two C shapes overlapping each other to make an eyeball, but there's also this leftover junk up top here. Click away to deselect before we move on to the next tool. And the join tool may very well not be in our toolbar right now. We might have to go get it in that extras area. So at the very bottom of your toolbar where you have the three dots, click on that. And all of them that are lit up are the tools that exist but aren't currently activated. And where are you? There it is. Whoops, and now I lost it. Where did you go? Join tool. Trying to figure out what family it's in. It's a little ways down from the top. Join tool. You guys find it? Okay. Click on that, and we're going to bring it into our toolbar, and we're going to nest it with the pencil tool. So if you drag it on top of the pencil and you get the blue box around the pencil tool, that will now be nested in the pencil tool. And then hit escape to close your extra tools. So paintbrush, blob brush, pencil tool, join is where it's now nested. Click to activate that join tool. And all we're going to do with this is, if you want to watch first, we're literally just going to drag across this area. Yeah. Dang. So when dragging across paths, they're either going to be extended and joined or trimmed and joined. Ours kind of overlapped, so they were trimmed down and joined. If they didn't quite touch, they would be extended and joined. Go back to your selection tool. Select the eye, which is now a closed path, and fill it with black. We're going to go use this tool on one more thing. So from the view menu, they have pre-set up a view of something called the leaf. So go view leaf. That's just going to zoom us in over here on the left side of the Swan artboard. So here's a leaf that is an open path. These two need to be extended and then joined. So in here, we're going to take our selection tool and select this shape, which is an open path. We want to switch our fill color to be that plant green. And the easiest way to do that, believe it or not, if you look at the bottom of your toolbar, we see that right now we have no fill, but we have that green stroke. If we push Shift and then letter X, that flips those two around and it keeps the colors. So it made the fill be green and the stroke go to none. So now that filled in that shape. Oh, we were supposed to join them first. Let's try the join tool now and see if it still works. Scrub across these 2 points with the join tool. Notice it did not join them straight across like you would maybe have expected. It said, I have to extend these to the point where they actually meet up and join. So by doing that, it extended it way out and joined them at the top. All right. And then that one leaf, if you want to move it right here into this family of cattails, go for it. And then click to deselect and save. And we have safely made it through this chapter.